Okay, guys, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. I am so excited. It's been a long time coming. Zoey Quinn, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much.
Yo, what's good?
It's been too long.
I know, right? It's been
It's
so long.
it's been too long. You've been on the show quite a few times. I'm not sure
A
the
couple
actual number.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
like
last time was the Christmas special. Is
I
that
think
right?
so, yeah. Yeah, was that last year or the year before?
I think it was the year before last, I think,
I
which is
think so.
crazy
I
because it,
know, right?
it doesn't seem that long ago.
I don't know which yeah.
Time is just going. It's just going. But you are also the creator of the Let's Get Freaky tune, the OG, the song that
Yeah.
plays every episode, and people love that. So thank you.
That's cool. I love to hear that. No, that's great. So that makes me so happy because yeah, no, it's like like songs for like the intro of a podcast are like very important, like just like any show or whatever. So that's like kind of crazy that like I just had some like random inspiration. I was like, hold
Yeah,
on, I could make one for you real quick.
I was
And
so
then I did.
pumped. I was so pumped because the intro I had before, if anyone goes back the first 30 episodes, maybe, I think the intro was pretty shocking that I had
Yeah.
originally.
It wasn't bad. Like, no, I mean, it was cool. It was like, and I was used to it. Like, once you get used, especially like, I've heard some silly ones, and then like after a while, you just get used to it, and then you kind of like look forward to it. So it's
Yeah.
like some sort of psychological conditioning. But yeah, so
No,
so
you
I'll
gave me a
take
cool
it.
one. You gave me a cool one. So thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
So how you
Cool.
been? How you? I know we
I've been
we
great. Yeah. No, I mean, it's like a lot's happened, I guess, since, but like overall, I mean, I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm just being a nerd.
That's what we like. That's what we like.
Yeah.
So it's been. We obviously we communicate through normally through reels on Instagram is like the main way we.
Yeah. Generally.
You'll throw out some wild conspiracies, and I'm like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
low in my mind, and then I'll throw some back, or either that or it's Pokemon. You know,
Yeah.
either way,
Or
it's
Pokemon,
it's
yeah,
normally
generally.
it's normally reels.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually it's anything Pokemon, you're in the list.
Yep,
Anything uh like
flat
yeah,
Earth.
conspiracies, flat Earth. Yeah, that's so fun. Oh man, that one's crazy. Like I just love or anything cult related, like I'll
Yes.
just like I love anything that's just like absurd. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yep.
Like obviously it's probably not true, but like who cares?
Yeah, they're fun.
I
They're
don't
fun.
care. Like it's fun,
Conspiracies.
yeah.
The thing is with conspiracies is there's so many. There's so many wild ones. The thing is we know some are true. Like we know 100%. Like
Hmm.
I don't think we landed on the moon. That's just where I am today.
I know. Me
I mean,
too.
my opinion does change. I do talk to people. I spoke to someone the other day that I was saying, I think it was my boss at work, so it maybe wasn't the smartest move. But I said, we didn't land on the moon, you know that, right? And he's like, what are you talking about? Of course we did. And then we had this back and forth of why I don't think and why he thinks we did. And he was basically saying the reason why we haven't gone back is because it's not going to make anyone money now. And it's because of, and I'm thinking, mm, I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna go too deep. But
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. From what if I try to like take it just down the middle, it's like
Mhm.
honestly, there's just like a lot of evidence that goes both directions that honestly
Yes.
points both directions. Like
Hmm.
I would say like if we're going most Occam's razor as possible, it's like maybe we did it, but like the footage was faked, you know?
Yes, that is very
If we're kind
possible.
of breaking a middle ground here, like
Yeah,
yeah, we probably did it, but like that was faked and maybe
yeah.
some other things were faked and maybe there's a lot more that's faked.
Hmm.
There's things we have done and do, but it's like I mean, because the reality is like, okay, we're already into the like if you
Let's go.
yeah, the reality is if you have like like if you have the dark forest, for example,
Hmm.
right? If you have this ecosystem where there are like alien or otherworldly, interdimensional, whatever. There's these other types of beings, multiple different types of beings, right? Um, it'd be pretty dangerous to,
Hmm.
right, to go
Hmm.
outside. Like, you don't really
Absolutely.
want to, you
Don't want
can't
to
go too
mess with
far,
that.
can't go too far from your tribe. You're gonna get eaten by lions. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's
you
true.
know,
I hope we've landed on the moon. I would like to think that we have, but
yeah.
I don't know.
See, I think it's even like, who cares about that? It's like, what even is the moon? That's like the weird part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's just too
It's,
many weird things about the moon. Why is it exactly 400 times
yeah.
the
Why is it so perfect?
distance from the Earth that it is from the sun or
Hmm.
whatever, or that the
Hmm.
sun is from the Earth? Like that, and then you can get a perfect eclipse. That's a little weird. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
weird.
See, this is the thing. This is what I love. This is what's so cool about conspiracies because
Yeah,
you can go down so many different rabbit holes, like the moon's a base. The dark side of the
hmm
moon. What's on the dark side of the moon? That's just the moon. There's
right.
so much, and of course, it's not all true. All these conspiracies are not all true, but there is some truth, and we know that some conspiracies are true. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, and of course, like it's just fun to speculate, but you can't help but,
Hmm.
kind of draw some correlations between all those different
Yeah.
aspects, right? So like of whether the moon is like even like was brought there and
Yeah.
was it placed there? Was it
Mhm.
by design? Because of that precision. So yeah, like yeah, you can like really get
We can
into
go
all
deep.
that.
We can go deep. We're gonna get into some conspiracies tonight. But
Yeah.
before we do, have you had any paranormal experiences since the last time we talked?
Like, I think just a lot of little things, mainly like dream stuff, but nothing that's like really stands out.
Hmm.
Anything that you know, I don't know, because I would say like I had a deliberate like disconnect from it, honestly. I even like stopped
Interesting.
listening to like podcasts in general,
Hmm.
um, let alone like paranormal or anything like that.
Hmm.
Um, So I found like I just needed to distance it. But then I would say in the last like uh this last half of this year or whatever, I've gotten more back into like listening to podcasts and like yeah, immediately gravitated right back to like different avenues and like conspiracies and different podcasts and stuff that present different just different information. Just
Hmm.
data points, It's just
Hmm.
that this is all data.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just take it in. Just take it. Your brain will do something
Hmm.
with it. Whatever.
It's gonna send you crazy, but
So, I mean, yeah, make weird dreams probably. That's probably all that it is. But
no, it's interesting how you needed to disconnect from it because I think you can go a bit crazy if you, especially with the conspiracy world.
hmm
Like like if some of it, if half of it's true, we're screwed. Basically, you can go crazy, and
yeah,
and and you can go deep into rabbit holes, and sometimes you do just need to sit back, remember that it's okay, and just turn it off. I
yeah.
get it.
Even 10% of it.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know. I mean, okay. Well, it's an interesting one that like hadn't really occurred to me, and I forget exactly what the person was.
Hmm.
Or who I should say. I could tell you the podcast, but yeah, this concept that like certain paranormal activity, specifically poltergeist activity, along with like other UFO like lights in the sky, etc., um, is actually like a defense system.
Interesting.
So like, and then it's just as soon as watch, if you have you not come across this concept?
Not really. I don't know if we've spoke about it before.
Have you thought about that yourself or anything of like that all of this is just some sort of like ancient defense system, like AI?
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
So when you say defense system, what do you mean? Like we're projecting these
Like
experiences?
no, like it could be something like it was put here millions of years ago or whatever, like by whatever excuse me, seeded us and
Yeah.
then it's like it's just there to be, you know, uh protecting the planet to ensure that whatever life they dropped off seeds.
Okay.
Because like otherwise you have like asteroids and stuff hitting the planet, destroying it, other like nefarious species interfering,
Hmm.
which brings me, I think we've talked about it, but like the pirate theory too.
Hmm.
Um, and like, yeah, so just like it would need a defense system, and then it could just be reacting. So essentially, like that's what like you could see certain like paranormal activity, like sounds in your house, um, it drawing you to a certain point of the house because like there's some sort of signal going through the part where you're standing right now. And it's
Hmm.
trying to get you away from that because that signal is harmful to your body.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And then like yeah, this guy like I listened to whatever, it's just some guy for what he probably was some scientist dude or whoever the hell this guy was. I don't remember, but
Hmm.
I could send you the info. But yeah, it was just like this really crazy. I hadn't thought of this idea of it, and then I've heard it more since, or at least been able to like put it into more of that preface. But yeah, like there's like a lot of different things that line up that would make sense because then you have like events like a Skinwalker Ranch, right?
Hmm.
Or is that what it? Yeah,
Yeah.
where they record all this anomalous activity and then they get weird like you know radiation burns and like weird negative effects that could be from something like some sort of signal or effect or being that's like passing through because like there's other shit happening like in our space.
We're going to go down some rabbit holes tonight, aren't we? I
First five
wasn't ex
minutes. You asked. I shouldn't have said
No,
anything.
no, no.
No, I'm just kidding.
I find it
No,
very
I know I'm
interesting
playing.
because my opinion changes every day on
Yeah.
everything. To be honest, I'll watch something and then I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe it's this, and I'm very open like you to the possibilities of a lot of different things. I do think there's a lot of different things going on around us that we can't explain. I know that's very that doesn't narrow it down,
Yeah.
but I see what
No.
you're saying. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
I don't know. It's just data.
Yeah. So there's been, I find it interesting that because last time we talked, the first time I had you on the podcast, you was kind of you was going through spiritual, not awakening. What would be the word? You was going through some
I mean,
spiritual,
yeah, just like some spiritual like experiences. Yeah, I
yeah.
guess you could say, yeah, with like learning about like just how like energy and like just whatever reality is. I mean, I'm no far closer to knowing the answers to that, but at least I know a little bit more of like, balancing my own energies and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I was, and then like I went into that, and then like like a lot of different things happened, and then you know, but then I think that's part of why I distance, just like a lot of life things happen and then I kind of like distance myself just to protect like my personal like energies and like mind state.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I think now I'm like entering back into a space where I'm a little bit my mind feels safe to open up to it, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because when you look, it looks back, so you gotta be ready.
When you look at the paranormal, it looks back. That is for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah.
And that is why sometimes I do think you need a little break from it.
Hmm.
I get
Hmm.
that. I don't really get much of a break from it, but I do enjoy it. Obviously, that's why I do the podcast. But yeah, I do
Yeah,
think it is good to sort of watch something else every now and again because it can
I
send you
agree.
crazy. But we're going to get into a big conspiracy tonight
Yeah.
that we've been talking about doing this for a long time. It's one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite conspiracies, and probably one of the first that I really got into. And when I first heard about it, I was like, wow, like it really was like a mind blowing to me. And this is the Admiral Byrd conspiracy, very famous conspiracy.
Hmm.
And where should we start? Do you wanna?
Yeah, I mean like I've got so I've got like a bit of exposition that we could kind of go over.
For anyone that's never
Uh
heard of the Admiral Byrd
yeah.
conspiracy, well, I'm sure most people have, but For anyone that
Yeah.
hasn't, if this is the first time you're hearing
And
about it,
then
I apologize.
yeah. Yeah, and then whatever ideas come in. So obviously just cut me off wherever. I just like wrote a few things down so
Hmm.
to remember because it's kind of a lot of information.
Yeah.
I mean honestly he's pretty like interesting guy in the first place.
Hmm.
I mean according to everything's true, like with any adventurer of time, things are going to be exaggerated, but you have whatever data you have to work with. So, that said, Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd Jr. was born in Winchester, Virginia in 1888 and died in Boston in 1957. Ultimately laid to rest in Arlington National Cemetery, fitting um, for a man, of course, whose life reads more like a saga, you know. Um, and he was an aviator, a navigator, an explorer, engineer, inventor, author, Medal of Honor recipient, and one of the most highly decorated officers in U.S. Navy history. Um, and yeah, so obviously it's like, and this is all documented. You can see all of his, achievements and things. He graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1912, instantly stepping onto the express elevator of early American aviation. During World War I, he oversaw the mobilization of the Rhode Island Naval Militia, then trained at Pensacola, becoming Naval Aviator number 608. He commanded air forces at Halifax, earned letters of commendation, and showed a pattern that would follow him the rest of his life. That wherever something risky was happening, he was nearby. So, after the war, he helped plan the first transatlantic aircraft crossing in 1919, um, charting the course for the NC-1, NC-3, and the successful NC-4, um, which was the only one that was successful. He volunteered for a solo transatlantic crossing in 1921, which got canceled, and uh, then he was supposed to get on the ZR-2, and it crashed and exploded, and he didn't get on it, so he probably would have died.
Whoa.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, man. What I find so like you've said about his Medal of Honor and stuff like that. That's what makes this story so fascinating to me. The fact that he had this huge stature, was seen as one of like the greatest, adventurers, heroes in the US, and he's come out with like the statement that he comes out with, which we're going to get into.
Hmm.
How can I mean, you know, someone with that stature to make a comment like that and not be telling the truth would be pretty pretty wild. It'd be just
Yeah,
as wild as the conspiracy itself.
I think, and just to kind of foreshadow my kind of view on it, is I really do think that that seems to be the point.
Hmm.
So like as you'll see going forward, um, in my opinion, this is a one of the critical points of uh mastering the UFO disinformation campaign.
Interesting. Okay.
So that I think that this is one of the pieces where it starts. Is not just
Interesting.
this, but this would be a major event for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Um, and uh,
Do we know when, so when Admiral Byrd went on the mission and came back with the claim that he came back with,
mhm.
do we know where the world was with UFOs at that time? Did people know about UFOs? Do you know? Were people aware of
So
UFOs?
I mean, so at this time when he's doing that, I mean, at World War One, you don't really have any notable accounts that I can recall. There probably
Hmm.
something. Off the top of my head, there's nothing, but it's not really until you have the sightings of the Foo Fighters
Hmm.
during the World War II. So that's not until the 1939 to 45.
Hmm.
And then, of course, you have Roswell in 47. But 10 years before Roswell, there was a case. I forget the name of it. I forgot. I was going to look it up to reference it. I forgot to do that. I can look it up later if we need to. But yeah, there's one that's 10 years before Roswell even. So
Hmm.
we're talking 37, right? So, which is kind of where this begins to climax in like 37 like era is when they're going down to like the Antarctic because they start with the North Pole here. Um sorry. Yeah,
You
clear
okay?
my throat there. Yeah, clear my throat there. All right, cool. So that's where they here in the North Pole where are we at? Okay, yeah. So 1926
Hmm.
by 1926 uh they were in the Fokker trimotor with Floyd Bennett. So he's like a notable figure in this like whole thing. Um, he's like his like co-pilot dude or whatever.
Hmm.
And they were headed to the North Pole. They claimed they made it and were awarded the Medal of Honor and became, legends. Later, Bert Balchin would whisper doubts, and in 1996, Byrd's diary with sextant data indicating a possible 150-mile shortfall due to an oil leak would throw gasoline on the controversy, of course. So that kind of like sparks it essentially a bit more. No pun intended, or pun intended, I guess. Um, though Bennett Bennett swore they made it. Um, but he died in 1928 trying to rescue, oh yeah, downed aviator. So Bennett and uh and Byrd both went to the North Pole, or at least claimed to. This other guy, Balchin, he claimed that they just came 150 miles short, essentially, and that he was the first one. So obviously, if you are the first one, really, and the other guys did come a little bit short, you would want to claim that.
Yeah. How can we
Uh,
prove it? How can we prove it then?
You really can't, and I mean, it does seem that like it says in the sextant data that the it may they may have come up a little short because they were running low and have been just been like, all right, close enough. Like
Yeah,
we're the
we'll
first
take it.
ones to do it. Like yeah, I mean it's 150 miles. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
it's not that far. So
Yeah.
it's to that point, but you know. To the guy who wants to be the first too, I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of a big deal.
yeah. But unfortunately, Bennett got sick and died in 28. So, we didn't have anybody else to support, you know,
Hmm.
Bird. And I'll say this too, as another play kind of primer to going forward, is like I was watching a bit of his documentary. I sent you that picture earlier, but I've seen clips of it before and I was trying to watch it and like I mean I watched a good bit of it, but um it's clear that like and these documentaries came out in like 30 and in like 37 or 42 or something like that. But it's clear that like he wanted to be a star. I'll put that. I'll kind of like put that shaper on that because that's like really the impression that I get watching it and like knowing all of this. It's like this guy had like a really solid upbringing. He joined the military. He had high ranking. Like he had good credentials going in to everything, and he was naturally good at learning all this aviation stuff. That's what he did in World War One, where he was really good at was like planning like courses. Like he was the first to like really like get courses over transatlantic flights.
Hmm.
Uh, the flights that, I gotta take to go hang out with you or something.
Hmm.
So, but they were the first guys to like even figure that out. Like, so, when it came to World War II, of course, they had to recruit him and stuff like that. But, kind of coming back here. And again, cut me off at any time because I'm just going to keep
No,
rambling.
no, it's good. It's interesting because obviously he had those credentials. He did that, you know. So why would you need to lie about? You say like he wants to be a star, and I get that. He wants to be like he's already a star, really, and especially in that time when, you know, to do what he did was such a big thing, you know. And as you say, he's a national
Hmm.
hero anyway.
Hmm.
So would he want to risk it by saying that he's seen another world, Hollow Earth, and stuff like that? Do you think?
That's a good point. I mean, I guess I never really tried looking more into like his personal life as to understand more of his personal motives. I mean, obviously you have at that time like films are becoming like a big thing. So like that's like the start of movie stars, you know. So even as a decorated general, like you might be like jealous of Brad Pitt because he's in the movie and he's looking cooler than you and you're the guy actually out there doing it and you're like, "Hold on, no, I actually do this. I can come in and pretend to do it too." So that's also one point. And then the other point is if you're trying to specifically sow disinformation because you're associated friends with Eisenhower and that entire group of people,
Yes, yes.
then you might be trying to control a certain narrative against your adversaries and your populace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that makes a lot of sense. We see that continuing throughout history to today, to today's world. We see it, you know.
Hmm.
Ah, interesting. Shall we shall we talk about what Admiral Byrd actually said he witnessed when he entered Hollow Earth? Can we go to
Yeah.
that,
You
do
want
we
to
need?
do that? No, I'm down. Yeah. Because, like, so we can just cut straight to that. Because essentially from there, it's just him charting a bunch of expeditions, getting credentials. Um, I guess from there to bring us to this Hollow Earth event, um, we have him first going to the North Pole and then of course wanting to go down and conquer the South Pole. Um, and so with having done that, right when he was doing those trips, World War II broke out. So they enlisted him to now not for his just his flight abilities, but his ability to essentially go and find a location offshore, like off of a mainland, um, because we're at war with Japan, right? So he needs to find bases near the polar regions and near like Japan and these other regions, so areas, so that we can make, good bases on these like islands. So basically find strategic islands to make American bases at, right?
Hmm.
And he earns his credentials there, and then through that the war ends. He won't, after earning additional credentials, doing some more war hero stuff, and then he uh brings us to Operation High Jump.
Hmm.
Um, and
So Operation High Jump is what they called it. Do we know what the initial reason was for Operation High Jump?
yeah, so the initial reason is uh essentially to train military personnel in polar regions to, test equipment and to gather data and mapping data and geological data.
Okay.
Um, and that was planned to be um, about 6 to 8 months, and then it was cut short after about 40 days. And mind you, this is about 4,700 personnel, uh, multiple carrier ships, aircraft, specialized Arctic and land vehicles, air and land vehicles, and so this also would require massive logistical support. So they had to get massive like approval for all this, and then it's cut short after 40 days. Um, and that's where he comes back to Chile and gives that report where um within his feedback to like the news to the media, he says something along the like, well, he actually says partly, he says he warns the public about the possibility of a new enemy capable of flying from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Um, and he spoke of aerial attacks that could strike any country at any time. And then that brings us to um, the journal that we were wanting to discuss.
Hmm.
So that missing 3 hours during his flight, um, during radio failure. So this diary that was claimed was surfaced in 84, just like everything does, apparently. Um, uh, which uh suggests maybe he recorded events during like that missing window, like because it's like clear like he wrote in after the fact. And in 1991, leaked documents described strange lights ascending at a 45-degree angle, five or more objects approaching the fleet hours later, and anti-craft aircraft fire having no effect. So supposedly that's another part of the story, that they were basically chased off by UFOs.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, if I go do you have the link to, or do you need the link to the journal?
I've got the journal right here.
Okay.
I think I have. Pretty sure. Look at that. I mean, is that the one?
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
I
I do
mean,
not have that.
I bought this off Amazon. Got it's a bit dusty. Ooh,
Oh,
bit
that's
dust coming.
sick. I'm just looking at the PDF of like the original one or whatever.
Okay, I think this is the original journal, but I mean, I know
Yeah, no, clearly, yeah.
even the
That's
journal is
sick.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so okay, well, where do you want to start with this? Because like, you
So
know, it's just I'm vomiting a bunch of information about him just to kind of for people, but like,
yeah,
yeah.
when he when he first came back from the mission, um, from Project High Jump, he didn't claim straight away that he'd seen craft. He'd met another possible race of beings. When did that come out? Do we know when that first actually came out?
Uh, the information about the journal and the well, that was in 84. So
Hmm.
essentially like it's the story goes that his like grandson or something or his like one of his great grand nephews or something
Hmm.
found his journal and like published it, I guess.
Interesting. See, I've never known that. I don't know. I should have known that, but I've never known that. I've always thought that he came out and basically declared what he'd seen. Is that
Oh,
not the
see,
case?
I mean, I that's not what I really had like read or came across, but I mean,
Hmm.
we could just do like a double check like real
No, I
time
think
here because
I can guarantee you're probably correct because I get
yeah.
very confused with this kind of stuff.
No,
What
I mean, but that's the thing too, though. I mean, that even just goes to show you that like it's already like multiple
there's
sources.
different versions. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Because I did see him. There was a talk show that he was on when he was a little bit older. I don't know if you've seen this one, and I watched it on YouTube the other day, and I can't remember the name of the show that he was on, but it was
Okay.
like very old school talk show. It was two gentlemen interviewing him. They're all smoking and stuff. It's very old school,
Hmm.
obviously, and he's talking about what you were saying about the threats of aircraft and another enemy and stuff like that, but not. I don't think he was talking about the other beings and things like that. But the show that I was watching, it felt like it could be fake. It felt like I'm sure it wasn't, but it felt like it could be like AI. I was getting that
Right.
that feel from watching it. It was like it's like a faked scene. That's how it felt. I don't think it was. I think it was real. I think it was legit. But
You're saying the journal or the oh, you mean like the interview?
the interview, it felt
Okay.
I know it was old school. It's obviously going back. It was a long time
Are you
ago.
talking about the one that's in black and white?
Yes.
And then he's
Yes.
like sitting on the couch and okay.
Yeah.
So, because I watched a few of those and I think he did two or something or whatever, but yeah, so. I mean, obviously, like like everything is so scripted, and like I don't know. I just feel like looking back now with all of like the information we have,
Hmm.
it's way more obvious, like that things are scripted, and it's obviously I'm gonna okay. Let me take another step here to answer your question, because like this is the other thing that I was doing. I'm watching the video earlier. I'm like thinking, I'm trying to get a sense of like who's this for? Like who's watching this? Like who like when did this air and like why and who? Like I didn't find that. Like and I'm just like cuz like that's first of all like your who's their target audience? And then like two uh yeah, why is this being pushed, And
Hmm.
then yeah, and then oh, that was the next thing with that interview. They start talking about like the earth getting warmer and like global warming and stuff. And you're like, okay, so this is like immediately they're talking about like the earth getting warmer and like sowing that information. Whether that's like real or not, I don't mean that in any like partisan
Hmm.
way, but that's just like you could see that they're like talking about that. So clearly like there's narratives being formed. And
Yes.
like that I feel like maybe is kind of like what you're picking up on.
Interesting. It does it because people in the conspiracy world will say that what we are witnessing in today's world, that we're like going back to 2020, for example. That was a crazy time. Um, and the conspiracy world is very much that a lot of what we experience, a lot of what we see, our politicians, that it's all like planned and scripted, and that really that there's a higher power
Mm,
above the theatre of our politicians. That's what some conspiracy theorists will say, and that what we see is like planned scripture, and we're, they're following a process that's going to take possibly hundreds of years to get us to wherever they want us to go to.
mm.
So are you saying like that? Like this was like it's just all part of the plan, bit more.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess you could tie it into any form of that. Um, I'm thinking more of like, are you familiar with like any of these you might call like LARPs? Like these like it's like these stories that will be found either through like military documents, releases, or something like that, or like, it's like somebody got some radio transmission from like these tall whites or something, and now they're telling you about their culture and like their whole thing, and like, so you get these, and there's like a bunch of different ones, right? And some of them have like little gems of like connecting data.
Hmm.
And then other ones are, but for the most part, they're all kind of like very outlandish in their own way. And like, you're like, oh wow, it forms a narrative that like makes sense to you. But like, that's the thing, it's like it forms a narrative, right? So it's like, there's all these different ones from different locations. And forgive me for not like just citing any at the moment, but
Hmm.
like, um, you can find a lot of these online, and there's a lot of good podcasts that also like demonstrate these and bring them out up. I'm sure you've done some on yours, and like it's just like these stories from people like it from like military op people or like whatever, like
Hmm.
just something
Like the
about
Kandahar giant and stuff like that.
things like that. Yeah, yeah, kind of
Yeah,
hard giant, like these little
I love that
stories,
one.
right?
Love that one.
It's a great one. It's
Yeah.
just, and that's the thing. It's like they're great stories, right? And I mean, just because a story's good doesn't mean it's not true. But like,
Hmm.
uh, my point to saying all that is like, bring it back is like, there's clearly a disinformation campaign around the entire subject from the beginning,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? From the time that it became like there is an American like military complex that is forming, that becomes the immediate ascension, like target, like because
Hmm.
it would, because obviously these stories, these craft, these like beings have been dated back from before modern time, as you're familiar with. So then that means like these guys know about that. These Masons, these like whatever. They know these stories. This isn't like just because it's 1888, like that doesn't mean they're not thinking the things we're thinking today. They just
Hmm.
have different perspectives, different access to information. But like, yeah, so I'm thinking if you're this blossoming like superpower military and you're like, yeah, there's these things that can just do whatever. Like you can't even explain it. It
Hmm.
breaks everything we know,
Hmm.
right? It's like, and then that nuke that you just developed to win the war, uh, it could just turn that off.
Yeah.
So immediately you're gonna be like, well, we need to figure that out. Like,
Well,
wait, that's
that
a
is
problem.
when like UFOs started becoming in like the mainstream in like the
Exactly.
1940s with nuclear
Right.
weapons. That is when like some people say that is when they intervened.
Hmm.
That is when they were like, hang on, these guys are making they're going to blow themselves up now, so we got to step
Yeah.
in. That's like the perception for some people, but it's possible that with like Admiral Byrd, the narrative was being written before UFOs came in to the
Right.
mainstream, the
Right. Well,
1940s.
right. How do you have this forming of a narrative before even Roswell?
Yeah,
Right.
it's like they know it's coming.
So
They know this information's
this
coming.
isn't right. So then that brings into question the entire narrative of the thing of like, oh, so like these things have existed, but now they're behaving differently.
Hmm. Hmm. We're going deep.
That's what
So,
she said.
so let's talk about what Admiral Byrd claimed to have seen whilst in Hollow Earth. Even though I didn't realise that like um the entities that he saw he described have like being really tall, blonde hair, like the Nordic type entities that people, you know,
Hmm.
claim to see today. That was the entities that he seemed to come across in Hollow Earth.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it does seem to be that way. I mean, well, we can actually like go into the actual thing in here,
Mhm.
where it says that because they describe them, right? Because he says they have the thing is that he says they've got swastikas on on
Yes, that's
on
the
the
other weird
ship.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, we have pictures of it. Okay. So here's the thing. These pictures obviously are not from the project because they're clearly edited after. I don't know.
Hmm.
These UFOs, you see the UFOs in these
So,
pictures?
so I've seen those pictures, yeah, with the
Yeah,
with the
this one
swastikas on the
it doesn't
side.
look like a swastika, it just looks like a cross. I don't know. I mean, I guess
Hmm.
it could be swooping.
Hmm.
Uh yeah, a slightly Nordic or Germanic accent.
Hmm.
And then they're supposed to be, I'm looking for exactly like how he describes them. Oh, they are tall with blonde hair. In the distance is a large shimmering city pulsating with rainbows, hues of color. I do not know what is happening now, but I see no signs of weapons on those approaching. I hear now a voice ordering me by name to open the cargo door. I comply. So now we have telepathy.
Hmm. And
Um,
the plane that they were in got basically taken over. They lost
mhm.
control, and they were being
Yeah,
flown into this world, land, realm, wherever it
yeah.
was, and were confronted by these beings, these tall blonde.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess the whole thing is that he's just going on this routine trip where they're gonna kind of go a little farther this time so they can prepare to map it, right? And they're in this smaller plane. So 6 hours into this flight, uh, we kind of skipped over this part actually is interesting. He's like the mountains below are turning green. The
Hmm.
temperature is raising. So it got warmer. They get lower. They get down to about 1,400 feet. I think it is in here, it says.
Hmm.
And Yeah, 1,400 feet. It goes, I alter altitude of 1,400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. And you got to read it in like his accent, you
Hmm.
know? You got to be like, it
Can
is
you do that?
green with the either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems different. I cannot see the sun anymore. I won't do that though.
I love it. You have to do the rest of the podcast like
Yeah, oh God. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody will stay, but
Yeah, you will.
no. Okay, so he goes, I cannot see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us.
The woolly
It ap
mammoth.
it
Sorry.
appears to be an elephant. Yeah. No, it looks more like a mammoth. Yeah, I mean a mammoth. It's incredible. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Decrease altitude to 1,000 feet. Take binoculars to better examine it. I mean, you probably could see a mammoth from that distance. I
Hmm.
don't know. I've been in a small plane before, but
See
that'd
any mammoths?
be. I'm not seeing any mammoths. I don't know. I feel like it'd be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe with some binoculars you could see it, but
I
yeah,
mean, they
no, we
must have
get
been flying pretty low at this point. If
well, 1,000 feet. I mean,
yeah, it's low.
that's
Yeah.
pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty low. So yeah, and okay, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just kind of skimming over. So yeah,
Hmm.
so we have this thing where all that happens, and then we suddenly cut to they're traveling through this countryside, and
Hmm.
then that's when these aircraft come in, and suddenly their craft shuts off. It says the aircraft seems light and oddly buoyant. The controls refuse to respond, and then they see the craft on both sides, and with the marking of a swastika. And then yeah, so then these craft they take control of his craft, they land him, and then yeah, I don't know if you want to go from there, but
Yeah. No, it's but the swastika thing is kind of strange. Oh, it's a detail that's what does that suggest? That these are like Nazi, like a Nazi race, or they support the Nazis. I don't know. It seems like a very strange part of the story to me. I know
so
that a lot of it is strange, but
I
that part really, I just, it's very
I
weird.
I think okay, what I think you're detecting right there is it's called bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
your bullshit meter's going off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because not that the whole thing didn't happen. I'm not saying that necessarily one way or the other, but what I would suggest because I do agree with you that why? Like why is that? That sticks out. Like it just weirdly sticks out as like a detail. And you would notice that detail, but why would it have that detail?
Hmm.
Right? So there's a fun theory that I have
Let's
that's
go.
just fun, but I'm gonna,
Let's
I'll,
go.
I'm gonna, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna save it till right
Okay.
at the end of this,
I'm
at
gonna.
the end of this little,
I'm writing that down so we don't forget. Fun
yeah,
theory. Okay.
at the end of this little section here when we get through this journal, I'll tell you. But uh, I will say that like clearly it's like this is my point though. Like they're clearly like something. This is clearly disinformation. This also didn't come out till like the 90s, I think it was. I think because I double checked here on ChatGPT and it
Hmm.
says uh how the real personal journal was discovered. It was found in 1996. So at Ohio State
It was found in
University.
1996. I didn't realize
Right.
that either. That's
So
really
this
not long
is
ago.
yeah, and this is 50 years later after the operation, right? So it says a handwritten diary from Byrd's May 26 North Pole flight. Okay, so that's right. So the diary is supposed to take place in 1926 too. That's the whole thing. This event takes place back then. So this event would have predated, I mean, that can't be right. That has to be wrong information then.
I mean,
For
ChatGPT
that's chat. Yeah, chat
does
probably got
sometimes
that
do that.
wrong. Yeah, so okay, let's just say that 80s, 90s, that's when the journal comes out. My point
Hmm.
is like
Hmm.
that's when this information is being given. Clearly there's an attempt to like just throw shit in a pot, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because why add that detail? That's my point.
It is very strange. It is very strange. Did you say Admiral Byrd's? you say his grandson or his son found the diary? Is that
That's
right?
what I had read when I was like going over all this stuff, but I mean, who knows? I could have maybe found wrong information and I could go through my notes
I mean,
and try to
is it
find it here,
possible?
but
I know I'm jumping ahead, but
yeah.
is it possible that you said it, Admiral Byrd perhaps wanted the fame and the fortune and stuff? Is it possible that the family were like using this as like a platform for fame and fortune? I don't know.
I mean, that would make sense. Yeah, but like why add those details then?
Yeah, maybe for this reason, to keep us confused and
I mean,
going.
but the whole thing is like it's just an amazing thing. Like, hey,
Mhm.
he went and he like you didn't have to do that. Like he went to the Arctic, he led this expedition, he did
Yeah.
these cool things. Why are you now adding in this random thing?
hmm hmm
That just seems like
So the only like facts that we have, like definite, Admiral Byrd went on this mission. Admiral Byrd did claim that he saw objects that moved from pole to pole that would like destroy us in
well,
seconds.
he says that he's saying the future of warfare will be such. So
hmm
he's not saying he experienced that. He's saying like that's what he anticipated. I could look up the exact quote, but like that he's putting it in a he's not saying that that's what they have. He's saying
hmm
or what he saw, but yeah.
hmm
But you
So
do have that.
it was as if he's seen something that's kind of changed his perspective, or
Yeah.
or or on the other side, he's been told something that he's got to project.
I, it definitely seems that like that is a yes and to that question or to that statement because it's like yes, he was obviously told to say certain things by like the government and like the like by Eisenhower and like the people that he's like associated with. He would have agreed to do these things, right? With these
hmm
people. But it also would make sense, like, yeah, if you did encounter something that's like you guys just used a nuclear bomb. If you do that again, we're gonna wipe you out.
hmm hmm
Could you
Yeah,
imagine that conversation?
yeah,
Like with
yeah.
the freaking like a person who's taller than you, they're like super hot and you're like and they're all ripped and you're
hmm
like now I'm like who is this person? And
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they're like this, magical alien human and then they're like, yeah, we'll just destroy you. Like
yeah. So sorry, was it just me?
yeah. And they're like, we're the peaceful ones.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So they were on the craft, they were on their plane. These crafts came up with the swastikas on the craft on the UFOs. UFO dish shape craft took control of his plane and landed him in front of these. And then obviously he's gone to this like city type place where he's met these entities, these Nordic type entities that are, bigger than us, blonde, you know,
Yeah.
warrior type, but at the same time very peaceful race as well.
Yeah. An interesting detail I find, it says they get on this like levitating conveyor. Like
hmm
it says uh here. Where is it? Soon we arrive at a large building. The radio man and I okay. We're we were then boarded on a small platform-like conveyance with no wheels. It moves us towards the glowing city with great swiftness. As
hmm
we approach, the city seems to be made of crystal material. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. So the whole city, that was it, was made of like some, they
Mhm.
describe it as some crystal like,
You could imagine that too.
yeah.
Imagine, I mean, live here in Chicago. I mean, like these buildings and such. You could imagine like crystal
hmm
buildings. Actually, I think they had that in was it that one Ant-Man movie? There was like a scene like that. But
hmm
yeah, you could really imagine that.
Well, that's the point as well. Admiral Byrd wouldn't, I mean, I don't know when sci-fi I think it was around the 40s, 30s, maybe when sci-fi movies started coming into the mainstream.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, you had like mainstream. He actually makes a reference right here. So it actually goes on. He goes, it appears to be right out of the design board of Frank Lloyd Wright, or perhaps more correctly, out of a Buck Rogers setting. And I was like, I've
ah,
heard these names and I actually looked them up. Those are like the original sci-fi like writers.
interesting. So it's not a like a picture that wouldn't be in the people's mind, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
So I don't know if
yes,
that's like you tagging on to the consciousness aspect, but yeah.
yes, yes. And the fact that they do say, they, whoever they are, the powers that be, Hollywood, whoever, control our narratives to this day, and it's still happening.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is like a kind of just like how the machine works,
Hmm.
you know. Like if you set up if you set up a machine to work a certain way, that's how it's going to run, essentially. It's going to create a certain product,
Hmm.
certain byproduct. Um, but it is weirdly it does weirdly line up with very specific things on like that would be perfect for a system of intentional control. That's for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm. Hmm. It's definitely like painting a narrative, like you said at the start, and it's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's changing my opinion of this whole thing.
I Yeah,
Man.
because I actually appreciate that reaction because I've listened to a few different ones and like there's a lot of different, people have covered this 1,000 times. You can
Hmm.
find people talking about it all over. So I'm sure like that's probably why if anybody isn't aware, like we're not like giving you every detail because it's like
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
out
easy
there.
to
It's
it's
very
out
out there.
there,
Yeah.
you
For
know.
for a conspiracy person, this is like an OG of conspiracies. It's up there with,
Right. We're not gonna like tell you
yeah.
anything too new. But
Hmm.
I did think I'm like not that it's too revolutionary, but I'm like, I haven't really heard this perspective, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, that just,
Yeah, no.
I just been really stuck more on that because like you have these, like I said, you have these like stories coming out of like Russia and like America, and then so it's like, okay, these guys going back to like the video, you're saying he looks staged, he looks fake, right? Because the what you're looking at is you're looking at a military guy. He's not an actor. He's trying to be an actor, and he's not good at it,
Hmm.
right? And what he's doing is he's not acting for you. He's not acting for the audience. He's not acting for the host. He's acting for his adversaries.
Yes.
Because especially back then, now it's a little bit different, but especially back then, there's no like the president doesn't just pick up the phone. I mean, they did eventually. I think one of them did, but back then, like Eisenhower didn't just pick up the phone and have Stalin or whoever was in charge, forgive my bad memory, but and lack of historical referencing, but
Who needs it?
whatever, the guy in Russia, whatever,
Yeah.
the
The
Russian
big
guy.
man in Russia. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a big man in Russia and he's telling everyone what to do and
Yeah.
that's the guy, James Bond. Okay. So it, yeah, so no, I'm just thinking like that's the only way to communicate to like and sow information,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
That's how you would I mean, you see it in movies, but like you don't ever think about it outside of that specific movie. I think it was uh A Long Day. What is that one? The Longest Day, I
Okay.
think. That
I'm not
that
sh
war movie.
Yeah.
There's like the for one example anyways. They are trying to they're in like France, it's World War II, and they need to know when the Nazis are coming so they can react. And so they listen to the radio, and the person on the radio tells like a story, and in the story, they give a code by like saying like Johnny grabs the door, and then like they repeat that line in a weird way, right? So it tells the people like, oh, they're coming or whatever. Like they actually did
Whoa.
it in the recent Stranger Things episodes, they had like a little code like that over the radio.
Yes.
So you would do this like to communicate with your spies and with your like adversaries and like even if you're like Admiral Byrd and you want to talk to Admiral Khrushchev or whatever, like you've had a private conversation once with him and he knows when you do this thing, like you're gonna whatever. That's probably not true, but like you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So like,
Hmm.
or at the very least, you want to be like, yeah, like we found there's the future of warfare is gonna be pole to pole, very impressive. That's gonna make your adversaries go, oh shit, what do they got?
Hmm.
Because you got
Hmm.
to remember, at this point, we're already thinking about the Russians being adversaries, and the Russians just came out of a famine, so they're fucked. They're like, they're struggling hard. So they're like, we gotta do something hardcore, and that's where you get the KGB. So,
Hmm. Man, I mean that uh show that I saw, the clip from the old chat show, whatever it was, it seemed to me like I was watching it because I know AI is massively in our culture now. We're seeing a lot of AI videos. Half of what we see on social media, we don't know if it's real anymore. And that's where we are. It's probably more than half. Probably a lot of what we see is staged, not real, made. You can make old school videos now. A new video, you can make it look like an old video with uh, a, an actor that you can make anything basically. I don't know where I'm going
yeah.
with that, but you can make anything
No,
on
yeah, I
AI,
know, yeah.
and
That's
it felt like I was watching. It felt like a fake AI video to me. That's how that old TV show. It felt like I was watching a fake AI video in today's world. That's how it felt.
right.
That makes sense.
Well, it does make sense, and I do resonate with that because I do feel that when I watch it too.
Hmm.
Uh, and
Interesting.
I think that that's why like my reaction was like, hold on. Let me like sit down and watch it. I still couldn't do it for long without finding a distraction like with my phone.
Hmm.
But so I failed the experiment. But the point is I was trying to get inside the mind of somebody in the 1940s watching this. You know, who's watching this? It's not like was this just like aired in some in people's homes? Or
Yeah.
like I didn't like look that up. I mean we could look it up now, but like I I'm like trying to think of like that, whatever. Even if it's meant for military whatever, which I don't think it was because it's goofy. These like documentaries this guy made are like
Hmm.
funny. Like they're
Hmm.
not even funny, but they're like goofy. They're trying to be funny, and it's just weird. It's just weird. Uh,
Maybe they are AI. Maybe they've got us, and we're
shit. I mean, if they're 50 years ahead, and that yeah, it would make sense if they've
yeah.
already had it. But yeah, so my point with that is just I had the same feeling as you because like you're right. Like we can't even like back then, that probably made sense. They
Hmm.
probably watched that and was like, "Man, that's a good man right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at him. That's a look at he's this is a star general, and you know he did all these things. He went to the polls.
Hmm.
You're
Hmm.
not thinking like, why is he so weird? Like, I don't trust the government. You're not thinking that back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know, you're like,
I
I'm
can't.
trying to eat. Like,
Yeah. I can't remember what he said. He said he made some sort of comment about women. I can't remember. It was a joke, but I can't remember what the comment was. But it was like he made a comment that was like you wouldn't be able to say it today, basically.
mm,
And it was like they were like, and it just felt very. I don't know. It felt weird.
like, yeah. Yeah.
Very
I don't remember that
strange.
part, but yeah, no, it is
Yeah.
weird. It is weird.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I mean, if getting back to like him coming into this city, right? Um, I think it gets weirder and it gets
Oh,
closer to like my fun theory. It's
let's
ridiculous, but
go.
okay, so uh, okay. It tells us here, it says, after the Buck Rogers comment, we are given some type of warm beverage which tastes like nothing I have ever savored before. It is delicious. I
Sorry.
think that,
Sorry. No, go on.
no, that's cool. I think that that's like a interesting note to like add in. And if you are like, it's like it does read as somebody like making up a story, but it also because this part he's not writing. Like the other parts, he's like supposed to be like writing as he's like flying. But then like this part, he's like, yeah, I had to write this part after. Obviously, I had to leave my journal in the plane. So this is being written after the fact,
Hmm.
which then also leaves way more variables on the table. If it's an adversary or an otherworldly or a non-human adversary, any of our humans anyways, or whatever, then they could be doing their own thing, like to trick him into thinking that this was, and it was just like a bunch of Russians. Like, I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
They could
Yes.
have mind,
Yeah. So the whole mind
tricked.
control. This was like
Yeah.
he was a part of the game as well. The script. Like
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
being tricked.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know that. Like, you can't pass that off. Like, because you get all
Interesting.
these people like Bob Lazar, you know, who's
Hmm.
like, and he's even said it. He's like, yeah, like it could be them showing me shit so that I sound stupid when I talk.
Yeah, but I mean, Bob Lazar, for example. Now, I mean, the older that story gets, the more credibility it seems to get. Like the more we are learning that, what he said, whatever it was 20 years ago, is actually making sense in today's world. It's actually back then it might have sounded really wild. Now it doesn't sound that wild. Some of the thing you watch Bob Lazar's interviews, there's a good one
Mm,
on Joe Rogan. He's a great one on Joe Rogan where, a lot of what he says now, a lot of what he was saying then, and even that wasn't that long ago, makes more sense today than it did back then, which was what, a couple of years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's uh it's totally true. Because I think for me growing up, like as you know, and you probably and you the same, I know, it's just like we were already into that. Like, we watched like the fun documentaries on Bigfoot and
Hmm.
aliens and stuff, and like to me, that's like that wasn't weird, right? It was just more of like very easily dismissed by everyone else, right?
Hmm.
Now, like to your point, you're like family members can't really argue against it very much
Hmm.
anymore. Like
Yeah,
it's much harder. I
yeah.
could like very confidently be like, no, this, and this. Like there's
Hmm.
enough evidence here to like
Yeah,
put you in jail, like
yeah.
with what the way we have, you know?
Especially with the UFO talk. I mean,
Exactly.
I think now most people that are not even into this kind of thing will say that there's something going on in our skies that we just don't understand. I think your average person now will believe that they're whatever the UFOs are, we don't know what they are, whether they're our objects or they're from another dimension, we don't know that. But or maybe there is a mixture of things, but most people will accept that there is something, whether it's our technology or not.
Mhm.
And
Uh,
you're probably crazy if you don't think there's something now.
I think you're right. I think that's like I almost feel like I shouldn't even have to agree with you because you're right. Like I like that's how like common it is to
Hmm.
just be like, yeah, at the very least, it's like you're not totally crazy for
Yeah,
like entertaining the ideas.
absolutely.
Now it's like you can get away with like a being like, yeah, I'll entertain a lizard people like conspiracy here and there, and then
Hmm.
like it's not so crazy anymore. You're like, oh shit, I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe
yeah,
shit,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
maybe
Yeah,
the guy freaking is a lizard. I don't know, that's crazy. Like, yeah.
absolutely. And maybe you can argue that that is part of the plan that we're on. I don't know. I've seen personally myself, I've seen things in the sky that I can't explain, that I would say are UFOs. But again,
Okay,
what are they?
so obviously I'm familiar with like most of your encounters, but since we've talked this last year, I mean we chat, but like we haven't like talk. Have you had any paranormal stuff that I don't know about or UFOs?
Since we UFO wise, I don't think so. Uh, not UFO. Well, I've seen a lot of weird things because I'm always looking up. I'm always trying to see something. I can't think of anything like definitive. I've seen obviously weird things in the sky like we all do. Could be satellite, could be something else. There was one night where there was like a weird, looked like a drone that was just hovering just in the forest by my house, and that was
Hmm.
quite strange.
Yeah,
Um,
that's when I was the last one you told me about, I think.
yes, yeah, and that
Yeah.
I think that was a drone, but it was up for a long time. Couldn't hear it. It was
Weird.
quite far in the distance, but I could see it. That was probably the last weird UFO thing. I did see a weird flash. The last like really thing that stands out to me happened a few months back. I got into bed. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like laying there in the dark. And I was actually on the floor because my wife and kids were in the bed, and I just because I was coming to bed late, they was in the bed, so I just got on the floor, and I was wide awake, and I'm just like kind of sort of looking around the room, not on my phone or anything like that, and I saw this like light just flash around the room, and I was like, what have I just seen? Like, and in my mind, I was like, I've just seen a fairy. That's what I said to myself in my head. I was
Wait,
like,
wait, how long ago was this?
this is about. See, I lose track of when things happen. 5 months
Yeah.
ago,
Okay,
four or five
okay.
months ago.
And your first thought was, I just saw a
Yeah,
fairy.
that's what I said to myself. But bearing in mind, I've probably just been doing a podcast where I've been talking about
That's
weird stuff like
interesting.
I do every night. But I
What
did.
color was this light?
It was like a golden color, and it was like,
Oh,
say, the size of a pen. It wasn't very big, and it just flew around the room, and I followed it, and I was like, "What's that?" I wasn't scared. I get very scared by a lot of this stuff. I wasn't scared. I didn't get a lot of weird vibe or anything. I tried to debunk it because I'm trying to do that a little bit more now. Where I try and think, okay, let's try and see if there is a logical explanation, which is something I never used to do. I always just jump to the paranormal. But now I try and be like, okay, let's see. And as I picked up my cell phone, I've tried to like create a light. It wasn't that. It wasn't a car light going past because we got our curtains. You don't really get car lights coming in, so it wasn't
okay.
that. The only thing I can possibly think of that was like a natural thing is that my there was a problem with my eye at that time, and I've seen
Yeah.
something. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know.
Like when you say it flew around, like would you, because you said, okay, hold on. You said the size of the pen. So that, does that mean it's like a single, like, enclosed beam? Like a
Yeah,
laser, like
yeah,
a Star Wars laser
yeah. But
beam,
but
like
like a but like a gold color.
contained. Okay, like a Star Wars, we got like a Star Wars laser beam
Yeah,
bolt,
yeah,
but gold.
yeah.
And then is it just like runs across your
It
vision
just
one
it
direction
just
and that's it?
it just
Or
kind
it
of.
starts,
So I'm laying on the floor, and it just kind of went like just flew around the room and just disappeared.
oh, so you saw it, there was an arc to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It just went around the room. Like it just, I followed it, and I was like, "What's that?" I was
Oh,
very
wow.
shocked. I was
So
like,
your
"What?"
eyes definitely followed something.
Yeah, whether it
Your
was a
eyes locked onto it.
yeah, whether
Oh,
it was
that's
something
crazy.
in my eye,
Yeah.
which is possible that there could be. But I think if that was the case, I would see stuff like that all the time, like a flash, like or something like that, which I don't.
True.
So I kind of ruled that one out. I don't know what it was. I didn't get like a negative vibe because going back to like the start of the year. I know we're going off topic of Admiral Byrd now.
No,
Sorry,
no,
sorry
you're good.
guys. At the start of the year and like towards from like summer last year to like just after Christmas this year, we was getting some weird stuff going on in this house. Like
Okay.
to the point where it was like maybe I shouldn't be talking about this stuff anymore. Like obviously I wasn't going to stop the podcast because I love it.
Wow.
But my wife said to me, maybe you got to stop doing this podcast. And I'm like, no. Like, honestly, for a few months, there was like and it felt like a build up, which you hear often with paranormal uh, cases where like homes are being haunted. There seems to be a build up of activity. And the family gets scared. They start, reacting to it and it builds and builds. And that's what was happening. And honestly, for me, it was like I prayed out loud a couple of times and, you know, it stopped. And that was enough for me to, I've touched wood. Apart from that little flashing light thing, not a lot has happened. My wife
Interesting.
did say literally last week or the week before that she heard me call her name, which is something that happened previously whilst I was at work. But other than that, I mean, again,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I
That's
know
not a good one.
that's not a good one.
That's not a good, that's
But
never a good
but
story.
there was weird like my kids were seeing, for example, my two youngest saw. on separate occasions in the same kind of area in the house, they saw what they described as my eldest walking past a door. Now I know my eldest wasn't there at the time. Amy, she wasn't there at the time when they saw what they both described seeing the same thing. That was very freaky. That was weird for me, like to know that they're seeing stuff as well. And I think I told you before in the room that I'm in now, this was their bedroom, and they were seeing like shadows and stuff. And obviously, with what I do, what we talk about, I
Yeah.
got them out of this room. I don't get too much of a bad feeling, but like I said, like we always say, when you look into the paranormal, it looks back, and I
Yeah.
think that's what happened. I think that's what happens.
I agree. That's interesting because that pinged a few things that I remember now. Thinking, yeah, I just, I get like little pings about like people, whatever. And that
Hmm.
was one of them about you. And I never
Interesting.
asked you about it. I didn't, it's not to be like after the fact, but like after the fact, like I was like that thought had come up to me for some reason
Interesting.
at
Okay.
some point earlier this
It
year.
it
About
felt
you, I was
like.
like specifically, I was like, oh, I wonder if he's gonna keep doing it. Like I don't know why. Like I
Hmm.
had that
Hmm.
because like we talk about it and stuff. It was probably like after we were talking about something like that, and then
Hmm.
whatever. But yeah, because you know, hey, you just
That's
gotta put up
interesting.
protections. You know how to
Yeah,
do that.
absolutely, absolutely. And what it felt like at the time, it did feel like an attack, a spiritual attack. I don't know what from, don't know why, but that's how it felt. And I, because I've not stopped doing the podcast, I still talk about paranormal
Hmm.
stuff every day, so I've not stopped that. All I really did was use prayer a bit more. That is honestly what it was for me. That was like stopped it.
Yeah, could just be some accumulation of evil eye or something.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I've heard, I've heard other podcasts say that they've podcasters that like look into this kind of stuff say the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they go through stages where they feel like there's some sort of attack going on. And I don't know, maybe I mean,
Well, I mean, that's exactly like I told you. I pulled away from all of it because, like, as soon as you go in, like,
there's
if
no
you
going
want
back.
to, well, there is. You can turn it off, but, like, if you want to turn it on, like, you gotta be, it's going to come for you.
Hmm.
Like, not like to be like extreme or anything, but like, it
Hmm.
can be like, if you want to, like, if you, like, anytime I decide to, you know, open up my perceptions, if you will.
Hmm.
That's when like a little bit more intense dreams come along. I have to be a little bit more
Yes, yeah.
defended.
Hmm.
So, uh, yeah,
Hmm.
and and yeah, there's just so much that goes into that. Like, you know, uh, regularly astral traveling when you don't mean to, so it drains your energy. So like these kind of things.
Hmm.
People are probably doing that all the time.
Yeah, and not even knowing it, not even knowing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like so. Uh, I don't know where we were going with
yeah.
that. I, I
So
I felt like I was going somewhere, but I lost it.
I, I do that all the time. So Admiral Byrd. Yeah.
Admiral Byrd. That's where we're going. So he comes in. So he comes down, and they go down into this elevator, and for some moments, and the machine stops. The door lifts silently, and they go down a long hallway. It's lit by rose-colored light. That sounds kind of nice. I'm
Yeah.
actually getting like this visual of like a marble wall. Imagine like a marble, like white marble wall, but it lights up from inside like that rose color. That'd be cool.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Christmassy.
Interesting. Yeah. Uh, okay. So yeah, it seemed okay. Interesting. Rose-colored light that seems to be emanating from the very walls themselves. I've heard this before again. This is what I'm talking about. This is like there's all these LARPs, if you'll call them, these
Hmm.
like these role plays, like these have been written out, and like this is one of those details. But the thing is this one of those details. It's not just in these like things that like might be fake stories that people wrote. They're also like in actual like abductee accounts.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Talk about like it's like a light, but it's not emanating light. It just is light. Like the object, the wall is light or
Yes.
something.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, man.
That would make sense if it's a crystalline city. It's a
Hmm.
city of light.
Yeah. Because he said he couldn't see the sun, but it was all lit up. And he said
Okay.
it was like daytime, right? But he couldn't see the sun.
Eh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then it says, uh, one of the beings motions for them to stop. Okay, so they come before this great door, and there's some inscriptions that he can't read. It slides noiselessly open, and he's beckoned to enter. And it says, one of his hosts speak, have no fear, Admiral. You have an audience with the Master. I step inside and my eyes adjust to the beautiful coloration that seems to be filling the room completely. Then I begin to see my surroundings. What greeted my eyes is the most beautiful sight of my entire existence. It is in fact too beautiful and wondrous to describe. It is exquisite and delicate. I do not think there exists a human term that can describe it in any detail with justice. My thoughts are interrupted with a cordial manner by a warm, rich voice of melodious quality. I bid you welcome to our domain, Admiral. Okay, this just sounds like you got flooded with a bunch of dopamine
Hmm.
and you're freaking high as shit. And now you're
Interesting.
talking to some aliens that have the ability to do that.
Yeah. Interesting. So he could be having some sort of psychedelic experience going on here.
I mean, I'm just this again, this is my brain vomiting data
Hmm.
because like that's just like another thing you have to take into consideration that during so many accounts like you obviously are familiar with. I'm familiar with because of you, actually. So I know you're familiar with a lot of these people's accounts like of having these experiences.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's like you hear the person talk, you look at them in the face, like you know they like had an experience, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now whether that was like physical or not is a different question, or what even that was. You know,
Hmm.
like some this could be so like like ridiculous such that it's some gelatinous mushroom being that floats around in the sky and it mind fucks everybody into perceiving aliens or
Hmm.
something.
Which
Like
is
obviously it's not that,
which
but
is more wild than aliens. Really.
right, right. That's way more extreme, right?
That's
So
more wild, yeah.
yeah, so like so if you have these aliens, let's just like not even go aliens. Let's go like a little bit more reductionist, right? Let's say that they're people. Let's say that they're humans. Like they're are like they're Americans or whatever. Like whatever little group was forming back then. They find this like ancient technology or whatever and start, or maybe like the Nazis found it and then they like acquired a bit of it. The Russians acquired another bit of it. And now you know, this triggers this whole like defense system and this whole thing starts happening, right? And you got to start interfacing. So you end up with like these beings that can control your perception,
Hmm.
right? Whether they're humans or aliens. And if you're like a human group that wants to show information about aliens, because a lot of abductees like Woodley Strieber he's like during his abduction experience, he says he saw military personnel.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there's people like that have accounts like that. So yeah, so this kind of just like a long way around for me to just kind of like say like these things could like affect your perception. They could flood your mind with dopamine. So there's one person who says, yeah, these like grays are like we're here to help us. Like they're here to make the planet better, blah blah blah. That's what they told me. It felt good. Like I trusted them.
Hmm.
Then the next person's like, no, these are demons and they are soulless. They just look at us as like containers or whatever. And like it could just be such that it's neither or both, and they're just flooding your brain with a bunch of chemicals like DMT or dopamine and whatever.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
man. Yeah, for sure. So when Admiral Byrd approached the master, he came out. I don't know exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of, "Your people are going to destroy themselves." Um, and have you got what he actually said? Have you got it
Yeah,
written down there?
so in the diary, it then comes and gives us this chart of Hollow Earth.
Hmm.
Like it literally just does like a picture and it shows Agartha, the advanced races, blah blah blah. It's like this whole thing. I don't know why that scene needs to be in there. It's not
Hmm.
even being explained yet. So obviously this is,
Well,
it's
it's
just
like a map.
edited
It's
in
like
this
a,
book. Yeah.
okay.
Because they're editing like these pictures into the book with like the journal entries.
Hmm.
He goes, I see a man with delicate features and with etching of years upon his face. Um, he speaks softly. We have let you enter here because you are of noble character and well known on the surface world, Admiral. Surface world, I half gasp under my breath. Yes, the master replies with a smile. You are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the earth. Uh, we shall not long delay your mission, and you will be safely escorted back to the surface and for a distance beyond. But now, Admiral, I shall tell you why you have been summoned here. Our interest rightly begins just after your race exploded the first atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. It was at that alarming time we sent our flying machines, the Flugelrads, to your surface world to investigate what your race had done. And mind you, this is, I'm assuming, in English and with a German accent, because that's what he said. Uh,
German
so
accent.
yeah, like German, Norwegian.
Hmm.
So so he continues, that is, of course, past history now, my dear Admiral. But I must continue on. You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars and barbarity, but now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man, namely that of atomic energy. Our emissaries have already delivered messages to the powers of your world, and yet they do not heed. Now, you have been chosen to be witness here that our world does exist. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race, Admiral. I interrupted. But what does this have to do with me, sir? The master's eyes seemed to penetrate deeply into my mind, and after studying me for a few moments, he replied, your race has now reached the point of no return, for there are those among you who would destroy your very world rather than relinquish their power as they know it. I believe that's true. There
Yeah.
are people who would do that.
In today's
Uh,
world as well. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I nodded, and the master continued. In 1945 and afterward, we tried to contact your race, but our efforts were met with hostility. Our Flugelrads were fired upon, yes, even pursued with malice and animosity by your fighter planes. So now I say to you, my son, there is a great storm gathering in your world, a black fury that will not spend itself for many years. There will be no answer in your arms. There will be no safety in your science. It may rage on until every flower of your culture is trampled and all human things are leveled in vast chaos. Your recent war was only a prelude of what is yet to come for your race. We here see it more clearly with each hour. Do you say I am mistaken? No, I answer. It happened once before, the Dark Ages came, and they lasted for more than 500 years. Yes, my son, replied the master. Uh, the Dark Ages that will come now for your race will cover the earth like a pall. But I believe that some of your race will live through the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say. We see at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures, and they will be here, my son, safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then you will have learned the futility of war and its strife, and after that time, certain of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message. With these closing words, our meeting seemed at an end. I stood for a moment as in a dream, but yet I knew this was reality, and for some strange reason I bowed slightly, either out of respect or humility, I do not know which. Suddenly, I was again aware that the two beautiful hosts who had brought me here were again at my side, and they escort him out.
Man. And that's when he gets back on the plane and exits.
Yeah, and then from there, they quickly walk back through the door of the master's chambers, and then they got to make haste. It's like a little bit in, if you want to get into it, but like if anybody wants to read it, like get the full thing, but it's not like too much, but that's it. Then they go into a room, uh, they get his stuff, and then they take him back to the thing, to the plane, and his buddy, oh yeah, because his buddy wasn't with him. So uh, he said, I entered the room and was again with my radio man. He had an anxious expression on his face. As I approached, I said, it is all right, Howie. It is all right. The two beings motioned us towards the awaiting conveyance. We boarded and soon arrived back at the aircraft. So like it's like very like dramatic, like written, like clearly like too. That's the other thing. If this is his writing,
Hmm.
like is he exaggerating too? And then also, if he did have this kind of encounter, at the very least, he would want to convey that message. That would obviously be the core of it. But like all the other details could be bullshit. And it could be that like he can't reveal like the true nature of these things. So like to throw people off and be like, yeah, it's a hollow earth,
Hmm.
like could be another like way of being like, maybe there's not a hollow earth or is or isn't, but at the very least, like that's pretty like you've got this advanced basically there's an advanced race hiding a breakaway civilization, which I am in not necessarily this one specifically, but I personally have a highest conviction in like a breakaway civilization.
Hmm.
So like I, you know, you have these like breakaway advanced people, and they're literally just like, no, we can like foresee it, like we can see into the future, and you guys are all gonna kill yourselves, and whatever's left of you, uh, is gonna come back eventually. And when you do, we'll have all the knowledge that you guys, left behind. I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean this happened before too?
Hmm.
Where they just like wipe us out or we wipe ourselves out and then like they collect, like what about the Library of Alexandria or something? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
if there are these people and they are recording our history, then they would go down and like have that kind of information.
Hmm. Hmm. And even when you think of like Egypt and things like that, when you think there was a time when we were advanced, and that seemed to have been wiped out somehow, So it's very
Yeah.
possible that we built ourselves up to a certain level and we destroyed ourselves many times. That's very possible.
Uh, I mean, it does seem to be, I don't know. I do have a higher sense of conviction in that myself, I would
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
Like that does make the most sense. Just based on like time.
Hmm.
Just based on the amount of time that there's enough time for us to not have found like the right evidence or whatever you need to prove it, but like it just makes sense. Like it just makes sense. that
Hmm.
there would have been. It would have just make sense. It would just make sense that there'd be more advanced because it's like the probability of life being here um would have to be it would have to do something with the variables of like the propagation of life, whether it started at the beginning, if there is a beginning, which I'm pretty sure everything's more cyclical, but like on the trajectory of time, billions of years ago, if we're not the only life, which I don't think we are, and there's billions of life, then there would have been billions of life, then like life would have had to deliberately get here
Hmm.
in a sense. Or maybe it is just a natural function where it just naturally develops everywhere that like meets more or less certain boundaries. But it just also seems like highly likely that like it would have been seeded,
Hmm.
most likely.
Yeah.
So,
The other question as well with these entities, if this happened and these entities are there, Hollow Earth is real, why do they not intervene now? Unless there's a spiritual reason why they can't. Why? Because obviously they're clearly more advanced than we are. The fact that they can control the craft and, you know, very like magical experience for Admiral Byrd.
yeah.
Surely they'd be able to step in and take over if they wanted to, unless there's a spiritual reason why that just can't happen.
Hmm. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily, I mean, I do think that there is like a spiritual aspect to everything, but I don't know. It's like it's really hard to say
Hmm.
like why they wouldn't intervene. I mean, I guess it's like I guess I was trying to avoid saying it, but like the prime directive, you have that. But like and it could also be like just because you're advanced doesn't mean you are like nice.
Hmm.
You know, like their culture could be such that they're like the elves of like m many fantasy realms, or they're like, oh, I'm not gonna be amongst a human.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
like they could literally have that like up like no, like that's or it could just be like they're it's too dangerous for them. Like
Hmm.
we're way stronger or something,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, or like or whatever. Like I mean I doubt that, but yeah,
But
it could be cultural reasons. Like it
mhm.
could be
But we don't step in to like, us scientists that are like studying apes, for example, we don't step in. I know sometimes we step in if we want the land or whatever, but we don't step in and we watch from afar, we study them, we see what they do, we learn from them. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're learning from us. Maybe they're
I mean,
studying
yeah,
us.
but
Maybe we're entertainment.
what happens when what happens when one of those like apes goes into a part and blows up a whole part of the forest?
Yeah. Yeah. Then they have to,
All
yeah.
of a sudden, imagine that. Imagine out of nowhere,
Then we
we
step
know
in.
that we know that chimpanzees war in like groups of 30 plus. Like they war with each other, right? They have
Hmm.
full wars. Okay, what if all of a sudden like they had grenades or like
Yeah.
just minimal, just grenades even.
Yeah. Then maybe we'd step in.
We're gonna do something about that,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, guys, that's not a good idea.
Like so, and then that doesn't even get into like I forget where I've heard this from, probably a few different places, but it always bounces around in my head and radiation is so powerful, right? Uh, so detonating a bomb, the nuclear bombs, they release massive levels of this of radiation and who knows what other kind of like energies we don't even know about, right?
Hmm.
Like, how do we know that doesn't affect other worlds adjacent to us?
True. Very true. Yeah, we
Because
don't.
if radiation, it literally breaks down. DNA. So what if it like permeates the ether, essentially? So if there is like an adjacent dimension or timeline even, but let's just go dimension like where we are sharing a space. Like the Earth isn't just the only space that's here. There's other space that we cannot perceive
Hmm.
within the Earth. And there's probably other things existing within that space that are not aware of us, that we're not aware of. And actually there's
Yeah.
proof of that. There's actually proof of that. The proof of that is the fact that like we're here now talking and we were once talking in the past. So like those two spaces, like you're literally in the same spot. So those two spaces are overlapping at different times,
Yeah.
but it's still overlapping like in the time stream if it's all happening at once, because time's only our perception, right? So
We're going deep.
oh man.
Yeah, no, you're right. Though. You're right. Time is, and we know that from the spirit world, whatever that is, that people say, uh, time, how we perceive it, is very different in on the
Hmm.
other side. When people
Hmm.
have near-death experiences, when we dream, astral projection, it's always time is always very different to how we perceive it.
Yeah, that's actually a great point, even like astral projection and dreams and stuff. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing that's been like playing around in my head is like our perception of time and
Hmm.
how much even like what controls that too. Because you can change your perception of time because like different like languages and cultures affect how people interact with like their day,
Hmm.
you know, like there's places like in Europe or something probably where they like stay up later naturally or something. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Me.
the whole place.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
you are
I
that
know what
guy
you
in
mean. Though. I know
Europe.
what you mean. Though. I know, no, everyone else is asleep. I'm still awake. But yeah, there
Yeah,
are
but I
cultures
mean like
different. Yeah,
a
yeah,
whole like town or like a
yeah,
place where it's like that's just like the vibes, right?
yeah.
So
It's normal to start eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night, for example, or something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I met some French people one time and they did that. It was
They eat
like
all the time.
they ate like oh that's what it is. They're just always eating.
Yeah,
Okay.
little and
Yeah.
often. I believe that's little and often.
Little often, okay.
What
But
was your
no, yeah. Go ahead.
what was your fun theory? I don't know if you've said it yet.
Okay. So the way this guy he describes the master, let me come back here. He goes, uh, okay, before you're okay, that's the thing. Okay, we descend down for a few moments. Sorry, I'm just
That's
catching
cool.
where where this starts. Okay. Are welcome. I see a man. Okay. Yeah, so it says, I have an audience with the master. I step inside and my eyes adjust to the beautiful coloration. It is in fact too beautiful, blah, blah, blah. He just says, I see a man with delicate features and with etching of years upon his face. Uh, he is seated at a long table, blah, blah, blah. And then that's a German. I'm thinking German's got a hold of some time travel. Okay. And then, this master guy is actually Hitler who went into the future.
Oh wow.
And then, and then created his whole like master race, but then in doing so achieved enlightenment and actually became good people,
Oh, man.
then went back in time, uh, you know, to
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I'm just having fun with the theory. It could be
Yeah.
any
That's
combination of
cool.
that, but like,
That would explain the swastika.
exactly. So these were
Get
actually
that.
like Nazis who like traveled through time and like ended up underground like after 1,000 years of research or something.
Yeah, they didn't go Argentina.
Yeah, I know.
They
I
went
told you it's just like a fun.
they went Hollow Earth. Yeah.
They went Hollow
Maybe.
Earth.
But I mean, what was Hitler's perfect person was blonde hair, blue eyes, right? That's what he
That's what
wanted.
it's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Maybe
I
that's what he
mean,
became.
which I mean, oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's just like weird though, because like just looking at like the uh, just like the legitimacy of this like whole document in the first place.
Yeah,
Because it's like whether even Admiral Byrd wrote this in the first place, and then because there's just so much room with it being released in like 80s or 90s, whatever.
yeah, that's strange.
I'm pretty sure it's 84, and chat was wrong, but
Do
whatever.
we know?
But
Do we know if Admiral Byrd did mention any of this in his last living life, or any? Is there any evidence anywhere that any of this was from Admiral Byrd?
not that I've found. I mean, that's the thing. There's nothing really proving it. It's just being like this family gave up his journal and put it into this diary to like make a buck, essentially. And that's what it
Yeah,
seems like.
yeah.
I mean, it's like that, and then maybe like some part of a disinformation thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's why it all reeks of that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we said, it's one of the biggest conspiracies, like legendary conspiracies out there, if you like, that every conspiracy person will come across at some point in their journey in the conspiracy world. It's one of my first, fascinating. I think it was one of your first as well. It's a
Yeah.
very interesting theory. Whatever it is, we know that lots of people were involved in Project High Jump. He said there was a lot of people working alongside Admiral Byrd. Has anyone else, do we know? Has anyone else kind of given their side of this story? Do we know if that's happened in history?
Uh, Actually, yes. So, well, okay, so you have like the supposedly like, the people talking about like I forget where it comes from, but exactly. But it they were talking about when they were down there, they had a UFO that was like basically just kind of came and was like loitering over them. So they panicked and they shot at it and like their bullets bounced off and then uh it freaking lasered and killed a bunch of their dudes and forced that's why they all left essentially.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
but that's just like a rumor kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then there was something I was seeing earlier actually, but it didn't seem too legit. But there was supposedly there's somebody who claims to like be kind of verifying that story, but it
Okay.
didn't look too credible to me. Um,
Do we know if any of Admiral Byrd's family members to this day still stand by this story or still talk about this? Is there anyone, any point or anyone connected to Admiral Byrd today that could kind of give us some of these answers or not? Do you know that?
I don't actually know that. I didn't even think to answer that question or ask it, to be honest.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess I probably did, but I didn't answer it. Let's see. Descendants and other branches are extensive bird family, including grandnephews, blah, 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 still living, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, there are people, but I'm not seeing anything that's like popping up.
Hmm.
Living
They're not
descendants,
they're not
widely
doing any interviews.
publicized.
They're not talking about
Yeah,
this on Joe Rogan or anything.
I don't think so, because we definitely would have heard. Yeah, this one's
Yeah.
pretty like wrapped up, and he's
Hmm.
just basically just like a decorated aviator, adventurer, war
Hmm.
hero. He did some pretty cool shit,
Yeah.
so
That's the thing. He's obviously a cool dude. Whether this happened or not,
hmm.
he's got a huge legacy and played a huge part in American history. So whatever the case is, he's always got that anyway. Do you know how Admiral Byrd passed away?
Yeah, okay, so that's actually kind of interesting. Let me get to my notes here, because I think actually is it in the thing here? Because he just kind of dies in his sleep a few years after high jump, before the second one. Um, I think is it this here?
He went back.
So, well, he didn't go back, what the military did.
Hmm.
Uh, Let me see. This is interesting. So this is the end of the final entry. Okay, if this is his word. And honestly, this is probably the sounds the most legitimate part of the journal. Like if this is from his journal, this part probably is from it. December 30th, 1956. These last few years elapsed since 1947 have not been kind. So this is okay, 9 years later. I now make my final entry in this singular diary. In closing, I must state that I have faithfully kept this matter secret as directed all these years. It has been completely against my values of moral right. Now I seem to sense the long night coming on, and this secret will not die with me, but as all truth shall, it will triumph as so it shall. This can only be This can be the only hope for mankind. I have seen the truth, and it has quickened my spirit and has set me free. I have done my duty toward the monstrous military industrial complex. Now the long night begins to approach, but there shall be no end, just as the long night of the Arctic ends. The brilliant sunshine of truth shall come again, and those who are of darkness shall fall in its light. And in big caps, for I have seen that land beyond the pole, that center of the great unknown.
Whoa,
And then he dies 3 months later.
man. Wow. So
So
he
yeah, it
knew he
was,
knew the end was near. Wow.
yeah, he did. I mean, according to this, anyways. I guess it
Interesting.
doesn't answer how he died. I could look that up, but yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. Man, I mean, Antarctica obviously remains to this day as one of the biggest, still the biggest mysteries. Even though it probably shouldn't be in today's day and age, it's
yeah.
still very much one of the biggest conspiracies out there. What there is, why every nation in the country has some sort of connection to it and some ownership of it, whereas no one really seems to own it. We don't know who actually fully
I
makes the
mean,
decisions there.
that's what's so weird too. Is like, I mean,
I just got to lift your mic up a little bit.
sorry about
Yeah,
that.
that's right. No problem.
That's what's so weird too, though. It's just like, uh, I mean, obviously you have the ocean we don't even know about,
Yeah,
but the Antarctica thing with the treaties, the there are like multiple nations were making claims to it. And then the US was like, yeah, we don't recognize those claims, but don't worry, we're not going to make any claim. We're just going to build a little base there. You guys can build a base there too. And then a few years later, 10, whatever, 12 years later, they're like, all right, everyone stop. You can only do research here. We're going to all sign this agreement to just stop.
yeah. Why? Doesn't make sense.
I just think that why not just like be like, oh, like, we don't want to unearth some freaking ancient plague. That's a pretty good reason.
Yeah, yeah,
Why not just
true.
say that?
Yeah,
Why not
yeah. If they
just
told us
say
that and that
that?
was the case, we'd be okay. Yeah,
Like
keep
these
that door shut.
conspiracies are not clever enough. Like why are you just be like, no, nothing happened. No, just make up some other bullshit. Like all
Yeah,
these other stories. And that's what they're doing. They just make up other bullshit and there's probably little kernels of truth. The
yeah.
reality is okay, I do think he found something there. I do think there is something there.
Yeah,
I was advised by one of our friends to not remote view that location.
interesting.
I started to remote view it and immediately got kicked out. Don't remote view those locations.
I probably know what friend you're talking about, but I
You
won't
do.
say. Yeah,
So, yeah, don't 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 do that. Don't remote just if anybody is interested in remote viewing or you can do that naturally, whatever. Don't do it. Don't do the Arctic.
interesting.
Don't do military bases. Don't do any of that shit. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. The
You
moon.
won't be able to probably, but if you do, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I mean, all we know for fact, all we know, like 100% really, is that, and it doesn't really answer any questions, but all we know is that there is some sort of secret there. There is a reason why we can't go there. there is there is a conspiracy there. That's all we really know. Really.
Yeah.
What it is we don't know. We can speculate all day. Ice wall, hollow earth, another world, flat earth.
I mean,
We can
I can't help but to try to bring it, always bring a unifying theory, and it's like it's got whatever's there is like the same thing that's like in the ocean, that's in the sky, that's in like it's all probably it's gotta be like it
hmm
can't. There could be like different species or aliens or like whatever. Like I said, pirates, like they're just coming to hunt your DNA, you know.
hmm
But like, but the technology, like the thing that we're seeing, I don't know, it's just it's giving like this whole freaking base, this AI defense system concept,
hmm
you
Yeah.
know.
Man. This
And then
this
that's why you would only see like there's only like a couple UFOs that come in, right? It's like why don't they reveal themselves? Why do they come down to like little kids in Africa and then be like, you guys aren't treating the planet right? Like,
hmm
why do they have these weird little what if it's because there's like another system on the planet that's like blows them up because
hmm
they're trying okay. So you have this other species that is coming to give humans knowledge, and then you have a system on the planet trying to prevent it from giving the humans knowledge or interacting with the humans, either for protection or control.
hmm
Now, that sounds like a lot of stories that we've heard throughout all of history, all major religions. So that's pretty, it's just a fun new frame.
hmm
I'll
hmm
leave it at that, that part.
Absolutely. This has been wild, very, very interesting. I've learned a lot, actually. It's one of those things. I thought I knew a lot about I thought I could tell you the Admiral Byrd story, pretty much, roughly what happened, but clearly I don't know as much. And that's even after watching a couple of documentaries and things like that. You're still not getting the full whole picture
Yeah,
that we've. You've done really well tonight to like kind of give us a very
thanks.
rounded
Yeah,
view.
well, and that was like I said, when I jump around a lot, but I was just trying to give some synopsis as we did, but like some people have an idea if they don't know, but I just I was just giving you my thoughts just because I don't ever hear nobody talking about that part
Yeah.
of like the deliberate disinformation. And
hmm
like I feel like if you start looking at cases that all surround that time period and going forward, like you see that there's like a narrative that's always being formed. And
hmm
it's like always being like stretched and pulled like Play-Doh and like uh that's it's just because if there is something you would want your if I'm America and I captured this alien technology and you're Russia and you want it, you probably have spies that are immediately going to know that I have this technology. So now I have to, you don't know what it is though. You know I have something, you don't know
hmm
what. So now I got to be like, okay, it's like it basically it's like a win card. Like I'm gonna win the game. And then they gotta counter with something else. And
hmm
then they gotta count and then it's just like this constant battle. And then you gotta like consider that like the people within our own like governments are factioned. So like within the CIA, there's multiple factions of people. Within like the different letter agencies, there's like different factions and they're all disinformationing each other because they all have the
Yeah.
same skills. So it's
Yeah.
not just like Jason Bourne, it was like the whole agency is after Jason. It's not like that. It's
Yeah.
like the whole agency is split up into 16 different agencies, and they're all playing each other and manipulating all of us in the process.
So deep. And it does go so deep. And it's obviously does because we can't really work it out. We get little pieces of the puzzle that we try to put together, but that's
Mhm.
probably done on purpose so that we may never get the answers.
I mean, and even this story too, alone. I mean, this is like the perfect example. It's like obviously we probably did this research like a year ago, and then I refreshed myself on it the other day and was just like in today a bit. But like even then, like I didn't remember everything that I had written down. I mean, I have it all here. I could give you if you want, but like I can give you like links if anybody wants like links for like
Hmm.
site sources and stuff to check it out themselves. But like it's even hard to figure out like when did the diary come out? When was it written?
Yeah.
When was like we're getting multiple dates, we're getting multiple like stories. We have like different stories from different times. We don't know where they're from. Then you got to dive into it. Then it's like you don't even know if that's even trustworthy. So
So basically, we can never really get the answers.
you
Too
just got to
many.
take it in
Yeah.
as data. Just
Yeah.
take it.
Absolutely. Put it all together and see. Yeah. So to round it off, if I asked you now if you think the Admiral Byrd story is true, if it happened, what would you say?
As written, it did not happen. I don't think. I think something happened. I'm not sure what.
Hmm.
And it might not even have been Admiral Byrd, but it's almost like there's this like into like when you think about it, when I think about it, it's like it doesn't want you to think about it. That's the feeling I get, and that to me is suspicious. And
Hmm.
I'll just put that. So yeah,
Hmm.
I would say that his diary is not true as written, but he probably ran into something.
Yeah. And there's secrets still there. Zoe, thank you. Thank you so much. We've gone down some rabbit holes tonight. We've gone everywhere, but and we probably haven't given anyone, I don't know, maybe we've given people some answers. I don't know, but I've certainly changed probably my opinion on the story.
Well,
But
what is your opinion?
I want it to be real. That is the truth. I think that would be amazing. I don't know.
I don't know. That seems pretty bleak if that is real.
Yeah. I mean,
They literally said we're going to kill ourselves, and then
yeah, but you can
whatever's left
see
will
that.
come back.
You can see that
Ah,
kind of happening. I mean, not to put it on a downer,
yeah.
you can see how the powers that be could destroy us someday. I hope not.
I'm trying
Don't
to
get
be
me
hopeful, but
wrong.
you're right. You're right.
We live in a crazy world that seems to be getting crazier. And what is crazy about this world is it's becoming like normal. Crazy is becoming normal. Like what we see today in the news every day. Like if you saw that once in a year, 10 years ago, you'd be like, what's going on? But now every day is like, what's going on? And I guess that's because social media is so big now and everyone's on it. We know what's going on in every part of the world, every day. We're seeing everything as it happens. As a world, we're like connected now. We're all one.
Right.
We're really, there is countries, but it's not, we're pretty much the same. It's pretty
Well, and you're
much
not meant
one.
to be. You're really not designed for that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Cultures, it's becoming one thing, really. In 100 years, I imagine every country is probably going to be pretty much the same. I know the US and America, the US and the UK, we're pretty much the same. We're just, we pretty much are the same place. I think if you go to the
Oh,
US,
culturally, yeah, very
culturally, you
similar.
go to
Yeah.
the US, it's the same as in the UK, pretty much. But you go to like China and India, places like that. You would notice some differences. Give it another 100 years, are we all going to be just the same? Is it going to be exactly the same everywhere in the world? I don't
I
know what
mean, then that brings
years
us
come out.
to, of course, that naturally brings us to the you know, transtemporal human theory, future
What's that?
humans. Future
That's another
humans.
rabbit hole.
Are you familiar with that guy? Mike Matthew Matt no Mike Masters, I think his name is.
I'm not sure. I am terrible with names, though. I mean, I'll probably.
So it's the future. He kind of is the guy who's like championing the future humans theory.
Okay.
Are you how familiar are you with that?
Not really. No. I mean, I,
Really?
I may I may have heard it, but again, I get.
The concept that the aliens are us from the future.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
I have. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
So
that's. I think.
yeah, that's I mean, and if I don't know if you anything Mike Masters, his whole like thing, he's like an anthropologist or something, and he basically like he's like actual like scientist that knows like how we developed into the shape that we're in now, the form that we've taken, and he projects that forward, and the projection looks very similar to a gray. And so, with taking anecdotes like that, we get taking data like that and anecdotes, then he forms like the theory of like them being, us from the future coming back to ensure the, success of our timeline, and not even just that, but then because this would be a time of genetic diversity. So essentially, like there was a lot of abductions that begin and from the late 30s, I guess, to like the late like 2000s, like 2010, right? And then they kind of taper off as far as like big ones.
Hmm.
Uh and I mean, I know you talk to a lot of people who probably have them regularly to this day, but uh yeah, so essentially the idea is possible that like if you killed yourselves in the future and whatever was left was reduced to a genetic bottleneck, then you have time travel, you could go back in time and you could get DNA from your ancestors that's more diverse, and then you could, you know, save, your
Hmm.
genetics that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And then that's why you have hybrids, because they're like trying to rehybridize themselves with their ancestors.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Very possible. And with the birth of AI, and you call it the birth because it feels like that. I'm not saying it is life or anything like that. I don't know. I know people do. Some people say that that is a form of life, but we are definitely going to be interacting with AI. Whether you think that's a good thing or not, it's happening. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man. That is the trajectory we are.
I don't know. All I know is I find myself trying to be nice to AI,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's an instinct, like that's an instinctual reaction, and that
Yeah.
tells me something. If my instinctual reaction is to be nice to it, I feel like
That's kind of scary, right?
that's telling.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
have.
obviously I grew up with like Terminator and stuff, but like, but still,
I have said sorry to my AI before in the past when I've asked for something and it's not giving me what I've wanted and I've said something nasty to it and I've said sorry after. So it's kind of the same.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Ah,
yeah, it's weird. It's all weird. I
man,
don't, yeah,
we live in a wild world that's only getting wilder. But
I know. It's, yeah.
Zoe, thank you so much. We've gone down some rabbit holes. I think we've gone over 2 hours. So we've it's been amazing. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. I'm so glad we got to do it. And I'd love to, maybe in the future we can get into another conspiracy and do a similar kind of
Absolutely.
thing.
I told you I'm always down
Let's do
anytime.
it. Let's do it.
We always talk about doing it. We've been trying to do it. We did it. So we did it.
We did it.
But yeah, anytime you want, you let me know. But I appreciate it. It's fun. I just enjoy hanging out with you. And
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
working on some stuff. So in the
Yeah, what's
future, and
what's
then
going on?
I'll
Is there a
nothing,
place people
just
can?
some ideas and just some stuff from just content ideas and stuff I'm working on.
Awesome.
So,
Sounds
but
very
yeah,
cool.
nothing crazy, but
Yeah,
yeah, so we'll get more into that maybe in the future. But
let's do it.
yeah, so it'll
It's
be fun. So I appreciate you having me on.
it's
That was
always
fun.
a
It's been a great
pleasure.
time.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you right now?
Yeah, Instagram is cool. At Zoe Elderbrain. ZoeyElderbrain.
Hmm.
So, yeah, you can find me on there.
Awesome.
That's just like a personal account. Nothing. I don't do
Mhm.
any like too much stuff on there, at least not yet. So,
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll share the links in the show description so people can go right now. Zoe, thank you so, so much. Let's do this again soon. Let's go down some more rabbit holes.
hell yeah.
Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, share it where you can. That is a great way to support the podcast. We'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. Now, sit back and listen to Zoe's tune. Keep it freaky. Bye for now.